Okay, so we're happy to have you tonight. Welcome to our second edition of the USA IST Office Hours. I'm Kathy Seabar. I'm one of your IST Commissioners for the USA, and I have several special guests here with me today. So I wanted to introduce my counterpart, Mac Zewalk. Say hi. We also have our head USA Commissioner, Russell Smart. And then we have a couple of our swag experts. So Travis, he is one of our professionals. We have Katie, who's one of our swag volunteers, and Todd, who's on our marketing team.
Howdy.
So let's go ahead and get started, I guess.
So last time we talked a little bit about the difference between the entities that are involved in this jamboree, and we thought it'd take just a minute. Some of you may not have been on our last IST office hours. So it's important to realize that there are different entities that are involved in the production and organization and implementation of this Girl Scout Jamboree. Even though it's in the United States at the summit, it is not a Boy Scouts of America event. There's an organizing committee. On the right side of your screen, you see a couple of points there about the host, also known as the organizing committee, also known as the JPT or Jamboree Planning Team. That's the group that is actually organizing and putting on this jamboree. And you see the things that they're responsible for: organizing the program, making all the decisions that affect the overall implementation operation of the World Jamboree. They do not make any of the USA specific decisions, such as our swag that we're going to talk about more tonight, attending scholarships, those sort of things. And they're the primary communication channel for things that are official news coming from the Jamboree. So a lot of times a question may come to us and you may get the response, well, that's a responsibility of the organizing committee or Jamboree planning team. We'll try and find that out and get back to you. But you can also go to the website that the Jamboree Planning Team has, which is the official 24th World Jamboree website, and you can find out information and get answers there. The legal entity that's behind all of that is the World LLC, and that's made up of representatives of both the United States and the Scouts of Mexico. Those are the three entities that are part of the sponsorship of this, because this is a first. This Jamboree is not sponsored by a country, it's sponsored by a continent. And that's a unique feature for the 24th World Scout Jamboree. On the other side, we have the USA Contingent. That's us. We are one of over 150 National Scout organizations, or NSOs, that are participating in this World Scout Jamboree. And the BSA is one of those, Boy Scouts of America. We have a contingent management team, or CMT. All of the members of that, there are about 100 of us, are members of the Boy Scouts of America, part of the USA Contingent. Our responsibility is to organize our contingent, which consists of our units with our leaders and our youth participants, our international service team members who are part of the overall international service team. And then we do have some BSA members that are part of the Jamboree planning team, but they don't come within our purview. So we're responsible for organizing the units. And by the way, we have got a final number that we can tell you tonight. We will have 142 and a half units that will represent the United States at this World Scout Jamboree. The other thing is the United States contingent. We don't assign the jobs. If you signed up or are signing up to be an international service team member, your job assignment comes from the Jamboree planning team, not from us. We provide your name and your qualifications into the pool, and the Jamboree planning team makes the decisions about which job you have. We have primary communications channels as well. We communicate through our WOJAM Unlock, which is our newsletter, comes out about every other month, and there'll be at least one more issue that will come out between now and the Jamboree. We just issued one a couple of weeks ago. We do have the IST Facebook page that this Facebook Live is being hosted by, and we also send out a weekly email most every week. Not every week, because there's some holidays and things in there, but most every week we send out a Flash Friday email. And as I said, we're all part of the Boy Scouts of America. So keep that in mind, that there are differences, and there are two entities that are involved here in making decisions that are on two separate sides of this line. And sometimes you ask us a question that's really a question for the other side, and occasionally the other side gets questions that are really ours. And we communicate constantly back and forth across that line so that we can provide you with the right answers to your questions, no matter which side is responsible for the answer. So thank you, Kathy.
Hi, I guess I'll take over here. My name's Katie Withers, and I'm the Senior Adult Swag Coordinator for the U.S. Contingent. So if you can go to the next slide, most of you have seen this picture before on Facebook, and it shows an example of our duffel bag. It does have a rain fly, or the backpack has a rain fly in the bottom. Our big duffel bag, it's 130 liters, and people have described it as huge. My 10-year-old can fit in it, et cetera, et cetera. So it should hold all of your gear and probably more than you want to carry to camp. You'll get 3 of the USA Contingent neckers that are shown in navy blue with the red and blue borders. That's the same necker that all of the U.S. contingent receives, 3 of those. You'll get a second round patch that's got the USA contingent logo on it that does say IST. There are 5 different colored bordered JSPs or Jamboree shoulder patches that go on a Class A uniform or field uniform. The one that the IST will receive is the purple bordered patch, and it does specify that that's International Service Team as your region. And so that's what you'll be receiving as the USA swag. So the swag is specifically for the IST that's associated with the USA contingent, and it's not prepaid as part of anyone's fees that signed up as a JPT or Jamboree planning team, only for people that signed up as IST. You should know which way you registered. At the end of everything, we probably will have some leftovers that will be offered for sale to some of the JPT at the same cost. So you should have all already received one IST patch in the mail with a letter from our head of contingent, Jim Wilson and Rachel Eddowes. And the remaining items that you'll be getting will be a second patch, the duffel bag, the day pack, 3 neckers, the luggage tags, 4 of the IST shoulder patches, and a second round emblem that can go on a Class A. That goes on the right shirt pocket of a field uniform, if you choose to sew that on your uniform. We have already shipped out the IST swag to the Transatlantic Council and Far East Councils. Those individuals needed additional time to receive their swag because of clearing customs and some other logistics issues of getting those overseas. And those have been shipped, and we do have information as of today that they are starting to receive those. We've got some verified pictures back on the Facebook page that some folks overseas are receiving their swag. So just so that you know, those are the only IST swag that have been shipped so far. The rest of the US-based IST swag will begin shipping in early June. That process involves several steps, but we've been doing a lot of planning and preparation for that, and so that should go pretty quickly. And most of the gear will be shipped to designated locations. If you live within about 50 miles of one of the nationally owned scout shops, bundles of gear for IST to pick up will be sent to those scout shops. And you will receive a personalized letter, email, letting you know whether your swag is being sent to a scout shop or whether it's being shipped to you as an individual. And the timing for all of that is such that if yours is being shipped to a scout shop for pickup, it should be available by mid to late June at the very latest for you to pick up at the scout shop. Now, before everyone races off to the scout shops and tries to pick up the gear, we need you to be sure and do a couple of things. You need to wait for the letter, for the email that you'll be receiving to ensure that the shipping process has actually happened and that it's been designated for you which one you're supposed to do, whether you're supposed to wait for yours at your house or whether you're supposed to go and pick it up. And then if you're one of the people that's been notified that you should pick up your gear at one of the National Scout shops, you need to look at the wording on that letter, give it a few days for the actual shipping process to occur, and then call and verify that it is actually there before you make that 50-mile each-way drive, so that you're not irritated and you're not asking them, for your gear before it's actually arrived on location. But that process, we've been told by supply, should be fairly quick once we kick that off in early June. So.
Okay, so one of the things that that everybody has seen, the pictures of the IST, troop numerals and the name tags. The troop numerals, that deadline has already passed. Supply can't get them mailed out. They can't get them produced in time in order to get them for the Jamboree. So make sure that if you've already submitted an order, it's coming. It's just going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get them to you. So just please be patient with them on that. Don't try and go in and order something online right now because they're going to kick the order back. Supply is also out of the contingent logo name tags, which is the official logo, like on our shirts tonight. They've run out of those, and it takes 90 days for them to produce more blanks. So what they're going to do, and it's already up live on the website on scoutstuff.org, they're going to swap that out for the logo, the globe logo of the World Scout Jamboree. And so approximately 70 people are going to be affected by this right now, and Supply is going to reach out and contact you guys directly on that, but they're going to basically do a swap of that. So you will receive one of those things. So if you still want to get a name tag, I would highly, highly encourage you to get your order submitted ASAP. They're going to cut those off in about 8 days. So make sure you go online, order your name tag, get it ordered so you can get it in time.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, howdy, everybody. My name is Todd Christian, and I am part of the marketing communications team for the contingent. But tonight we are really excited to offer you, the IST, an exclusive first look at our contingent's mobile application. As we all know, this is going to be the most connected Jamboree ever in history, and we are excited to provide this excellent tool for you to use, and we hope that it's going to enhance your Jamboree experience. So hopefully, if everything works out, we'll give you a live demo of it. But while we get that all set up, we want to talk about what this app can and what this app cannot do. We want to be very clear with that going in. What can it not do? This is not an application for every member attending the World Jamboree. Not all 50,000 people, just the US people, all 10,000 of us. The Jamboree planning team, the JPT, is planning to put out a mobile application that will support operation across the Jamboree in early July. For our contingent, we want to focus on the things that are most important to us, communicating with people within the United States, getting connected with different events that we're hosting, as well as sharing pertinent as well as emergency information with you should the occasion arise. So here, if you're following along with us, you'll be able to see some of the things that we can do, but it looks like the live demo is set up and ready. So let's go over and give that a look. So if you have ever been to one of BSA's national annual meetings, or NAMs, you should be aware of an application called Adventure On. In case you're not familiar with it, the Boy Scouts of America operates and maintains a mobile application for any large-scale meeting that we host. Here in next week, the BSA is hosting their national annual meeting for 2019, and they are currently using the mobile application. However, you will see a button for us, and whenever it comes our time, the World Jamboree button will be at the top here. But let's get the app loaded up here, and you'll see that this is our space. We own the space, and everything about it is ours. Now, I do want to make the disclaimer that this is a beta still, which means that there might be some things that are not perfect yet. So you're welcome to go ahead and download the application, but you won't be able to access it yet. Access will be available to you in June, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this is what you get when you launch the application, and it's pretty straightforward. Let's walk through the buttons you see here on the top of the screen. First is the schedule. And currently you can't see any events because we don't have anything posted yet. But some things you might be able to look at might be a welcome message, maybe IST receptions we'll be hosting, as well as events that you can host yourself. So maybe a team of IST wants to get together at the Chat and Chew one night, they can schedule a meeting. They can invite other IST from the United States, and this app can also send reminders to them. Now, let's go back to the home. In addition to calendar entries, you can also send messages to everybody. So let's say that you are a unit leader and you want to create a group chat with everybody within your unit. You can do that. As IST, you can also send messages to one another safely and securely without having to exchange phone numbers or anything like that. In addition, we have some rudimentary mapping features. This is not navigation. This only allows you to look at the Bechtel Summit site, but you won't be able to, it won't tell you to turn left at this path or right on that path. It just tells you where you're at and where you can go. Currently, we have a whole site map loaded as well as all the base camps in the Scott Summit Center. We look forward to adding more maps soon, as well as all the different kinds of waypoints you could possibly imagine. So maybe you're new to the Jamboree site, you've never been to the summit before, and you want to go to the Console Energy Bridge. There should be a way for you to find where that is and for you to find your own way through paths. Also, while we don't have anything loaded yet, the contingent will share any important documents with you here. Maybe we have an important notice about something that's come up on site relevant to the United States contingent, or maybe we'll just have some general reminders for you. In addition, we're really excited to offer exclusive access to the National Key 3. These are the top 3 leaders of the Boy Scouts of America, and they are making themselves available to the entire United States contingent to attend events that you're hosting. So maybe you are hosting a really cool demonstration on the job, or maybe you just want to have them over for a social at the Chat and Chew. The application allows an interface for you to do that by providing just a little bit of information here. Assuming that they're available and they get all the information from you that they need, they'll be able to show up and you can have a great time with the National Key 3. Lastly, we also have emergency communication features in the app. Hopefully the occasion won't arise, but if it does, we'll have the ability to send you important information live and up to the minute for things that are most relevant to you. Now, we want to be respectful to you. We're not going to bother you with a whole lot of extraneous information, but we do want to make sure you have the information you need and also give you gentle reminders. So here you can see that we set up a gentle reminder here saying howdy and welcome. We look forward to sharing more exclusive content with you through the app, but this is a way to look at it here. So right now, that is a brief look at the mobile application. We are currently in testing mode. We're currently beta testing the application with the contingent management team, and we look forward to sharing it in our staged rollout starting in mid-June. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them on Facebook and be looking for a Flash Friday update with a lot more information about Adventure on WSJ. Thank you.
Mac, do you want to take things away?
Greetings. Now that I've figured out how to turn on the microphone. All right, so your safety at the Jamboree is important to all of us, and it's basically common sense stuff, but we've got a lot of questions about it, so let's go through some key ones. There are no electrical power cords to tents. I can't stress enough, don't daisy chain 9 things together to get from the bathroom to your tent. We're just going to disconnect it. It's not a good idea. Don't do it. Don't charge your mobile phones with the shower house outlets. They'll overload. There's not enough of them anyway. There are charging stations around the site. There are plenty of them, so please use those. Basic camping stuff. Wear closed-toed shoes when you're walking around. Don't hurt yourself. It's not necessary. You can avoid it. The little stones, the little sticks, they're everywhere. Okay, always have a water bottle. I can't tell you in past summit experiences how many people have had substantial medical issues that could have easily been avoided had they constantly been drinking water. It happens to even our most seasoned and best prepared scouts, and it'll certainly happen to people that aren't used to it. Carry water Always have it. Always use the buddy system. Probably also obvious, but there are a lot of places on the Summit property where if something comes up, it may be a while before somebody sees you. So don't be alone. And always wear your credentials and ID. Need to know who you are. Besides, you'll want to know who you're talking to. So just be a part of the team. Wear your ID. Thanks.
Excellent. So we had a couple of pre-gathered Q&A questions that you guys submitted in advance. So we're going to go over some of those questions that you already sent in. And then afterwards, we're going to look through the comment section of the Facebook live stream and see if you have any additional things you want to know more about. So we sort of grouped these into a couple of different categories to what makes the most sense. The first questions have to do with arrival on site. So what day do I have to arrive? That is something that you need to talk to your supervisor about. The USA Contingent has absolutely nothing to do with when you can and cannot get on site. So you need to work with your supervisor to figure out when you are needed. And you cannot, I cannot stress this enough, you cannot show up earlier than your arrival date. They will turn you away. They will not let you on site before your assigned arrival date. So even if you say, oh, I want to come help set up X, Y, and Z, they will not let you on site. So come the day that you're scheduled to come. How do I submit my arrival and departure information? There is a link through TMS. We can post that on the Facebook group or in the comments of this, or you can just search the Facebook group for TMS, so TMS like the letters, and that should pop up. You can put it on there. It will ask for a special code if you're trying to arrive early, and you can get that special code from your supervisor. Other things, on arrival date, can we go to our tents with a car? Can we drive to our tents? The answer is no. You will have to park your car at the Ruby Welcome Center and then check in, and then you're going to board a bus and be taken to on-site. And that bus will go different places depending on to which base camp you're living. But no, you cannot drive on-site. So what you pack is what you carry. So you need to make sure you're being very conscious of what you're packing, not overpacking, and making sure it's something that you're able to carry. You will be able to access your car throughout the Jamboree, so they will have buses running to the Ruby Welcome Center, but that's going to take some time, and you're not going to want to constantly be going out and getting stuff from your car. So you want to be able to bring everything with you that you need initially. Last question, can we bring a collapsible wagon? There hasn't been any guidance on this, yes or no. I would say it's most likely going to be no, just because we want you to be able to carry everything. You're going to have to be able to get it on and off buses easily. Normally things that you put in a wagon, you're not going to be able to fit on and off a little bus seat very quickly. There's no official answer on that. We will post it once we know. But right now I would plan on having everything you need in your duffel bag. And along those lines, you do not have to use the duffel bag we're providing you. If you have another one that you like more, if you want something that looks different, you're welcome to use whatever you have already as long as you can carry it. Next slide. So going off of that, we have some other questions about day-to-day life around the summit. Some had to do with the tent mate form. So just some general clarification on the tent mate form. There is going to be 4 people to a tent, and there's no exceptions to that. Everyone in our USA is going to be 4 to a tent. There is a way that you can request people in advance through a form that's published online, and you can request either 2, 3, or 4 people. But just note that even if you request 2 people, you're still going to get paired up with 2 other people randomly. So every tent is going to be full, even if you request less than the maximum number of people. And that is going to be single gender. So our US contingent is going to be entirely single gender tenting. Because there are 4 to a tent, we can't really accommodate couples in that sense, because you would have to be with 2 other people who might not be comfortable with staying with a couple. So that answers that first question. Well, there will be religious services on the 21st, so that's before participants arrive, but after IST are on site, and I have been told that yes, there will be religious services. I have a list of maybe like 5 or 6 different religions that are confirmed to have services for IST, and there's a couple more that they're working on trying to get those services before the full masses of our international friends arrive. Besides that, will I be able to request gluten-free, etc. meals? Yes, you should have already put your dietary restrictions on your application when you first applied. So those should have already been submitted into the system. If for some reason you forgot to put that in, or if you got new dietary restrictions since you applied for the Jamboree, you can send an email to the contingent, and we will get that added to your application so they know about it. They're going to have lots of accommodations for people of all kinds of dietary restrictions, so you will be taken care of. Can I bring my own bike? No, you cannot. It's not going to be safe. There's going to be too many people on the path. There's just too much possibility of danger and injury in that sense. So you cannot bring your own bikes on site. I already said, yes, you can access your cars during the Jamboree. What are the 4-person tents? So the tents are going to be a canvas A-frame tent, canvas walls, canvas bottom. There's no solid bottom to it, it's just canvas. And then there's going to be 2 bunk beds. And those bunk beds are Army-style cots. So a lot of people like to bring some sort of inflatable ground pad or some sort of foam pad to make it a little bit softer, but that's up to you. There is not a ton of room in there. So there's bunk beds, and then there's maybe like a couple feet at the base of your bed to put your duffel bags, but there's really not a ton of space. So you need to be very conscious of that when you're packing, in the fact that there's going to be 4 other people in there, so the very limited space is going to be divided up amongst you. Luckily, you won't spend very much time in your tent. You're going to be spending most of your time either on the job or at the dining hall or at the chat and chew or just meeting new friends. So it's not too big of a deal, but just something to be aware of. And for uniforms. So we ask that you wear your uniform during travel and during the opening ceremony. And it's recommended to as well during religious services. But besides that, on a day-to-day basis, there is no formal uniform. So you do not have to purchase any sort of program t-shirt or whatever area you're working in. You don't have to submit any specific t-shirt or anything like that. You can wear any Scout appropriate attire that you have. So whether it's a Class B t-shirt or just any other t-shirt you have that's Scout appropriate, you can wear anything you want as long as it's Scout appropriate, as long as you are wearing your forms of ID. At a World Jamboree, our biggest form of ID is our necker. So you see a lot of people on the call tonight wearing their neckers. That's what our CMT is going to be wearing. You guys are going to have those blue ones, but those are our contingent ones. On site, we're going to be giving out a host neckerchief, and that's the one that you're required to wear on a day-to-day basis. But lots of people wear multiple. You'll see people wearing 12, 15 neckers at a time. It's quite impressive. But yes, so you can wear whatever clothes you want as long as they're Scout appropriate and you're wearing your necker, your lanyard, and your Novus wristband. I believe that answers all those questions.
All right, I've got some of the swag questions. Howdy, everybody. First one, when will I get my swag if I'm in Far East or Transatlantic Council? Those items have already been shipped. If you need to get tracking number for that to see where it is in transport, please send an email to US Contingent 2019@scouting.org, and I will address it through our supply division. We'll get the tracking number sent over to you. I've moved, and I'm afraid I won't get my swag. Once again, we've already pulled the list, and so if you've moved, please email US Contingent 2019@scouting.org. Give us your name, your registration number, and your correct address. I need this as soon as humanly possible, so please get that in. We got to get that fixed up. Okay. When will the rest of the IST get their swag? Once again, we've addressed this on the call tonight, but no IST swag shipments have begun yet. So please be patient with us. It's an absolute process to get these things shipped out to the 180 different Scout shops and that process. So we're going to start this hopefully in the next week and a half to 2 weeks. You should have it by mid to late June. Okay. What do I do if I haven't received my first patch yet? Well, number one, make sure that you're fully paid with the contingent. Make sure you're square with the house. If you haven't received it, send an email to US Contingent 2019@scouting.org. Let us know your name, your registration number, and your current mailing address, and if you haven't received the patch yet. What swag do we get from the host once we get there? Like Kathy just said, you're going to get a neckerchief. You're going to get one pocket patch that goes above the pocket, so on the upper right side. Okay, and they will not have those available for sale at the site. You're going to get one Novus wristband, which is the wristband game. If you went to NOAC in 2018, it'll be very similar to that. And then one lanyard with your ID on. This is always a big question that's popped up on Facebook several times, and we're trying to get the word out about it as well. When can I order more official USA stuff and patches for the uniform? Where can I order additional shoulder patches? We're going to get that out soon. Our goal is to get that turned on here within the next couple of weeks. We want to make sure that everybody gets their stuff first. And so for the contingent, the units, as well as the IST. So we want everybody to get them first before we post them online so everybody else can buy them. So that's that. Kathy?
Next slide.
Okay, get unmuted there. So we've got some medical questions. We always get a few of those. First one about submitting your health records. There have been some folks that have contacted us and said that they never received an original email inviting them to fill out their health information that's asked for by the host. And that's very possible that that may have happened. We're going to post online. Kathy does a good job of putting notes that come out of this meeting online very quickly for those that want to look at it again or look at it later. And we will provide you a link. The medical team has given us now a general link that you can go to and get logged into the certain system, which is the medical and roster system. And then what you will have to have your unique ID number, which starts, I think, in most cases with 651 and then a dash and some other numbers. So you'll have to have that registration number to log in because it's specific to you, but we'll provide that link so that if you didn't get that email and you haven't filled out your health information, you can do that. The questions about medical forms. The host has made the decision early on not to require any kind of special medical paperwork to be filled out. I know that by meeting members of the Boy Scouts of America, we're very familiar and dialed into always having those standard high adventure medical forms with us when we go to these high adventure events at Philmont or Sea Base or Summit. But that's not required for our international service team. Sure, if you have such a health form and want to have it on your person because you believe it has information that you think might be interesting or helpful, that's fine. You're welcome to fill one out and have it with you, but it is not required. Nobody is going to ask you to turn it in or to give them a copy of it when you get on site. Everything that the host has decided they need to know about you in advance is provided on the medical health record that you're going to fill out online. We've had some information to come out about measles. That's a very interesting topic. A lot of press has been out there about that over the past month or so, particularly. And so we did put out some guidance about measles. And remember, this is just guidance. Nothing at this point is being required of anybody about measles, but guidance has been furnished to our participants, to our adult leaders, and to all of our international service team members about measles. And so you need to read that and make your own decision about what you feel is best. And that will tell you what you need to have or what you need to provide when you check in. I discovered today that that's one of the advantages of being my age, because if you were born at the date that I was born, it's not a problem because you've had measles. And so that's not an issue. And that's for anyone that's born 1957 or before. And I'm included in that group. So be sure and read the guidance that you got about measles and all of that as you feel best. Then this was an interesting question, asking if we would have chiropractors available for those whose back goes out after they carry in that huge duffel pack, Travis and Katie, that you're going to be sending to them. Well, that's an interesting question, and we have medical specialists of all varieties at the Jamboree. So I don't know about specifically if there'll be a chiropractic clinic, but there'll certainly be a medical facility available. And perhaps it might be more interesting to you to know that there will be plenty of listening ear people around at the Jamboree. At the Jamboree. So if you have a complaint, any variety, then you can go to the listening ear and tell them your situation. So that's a medical question. One that's not specifically related to medical, Kathy, but I'd like to put it in because it's a little bit connected here, is not to forget that safe from harm training that all international service team, all adult leaders, all of our contingent management team, all the Jamboree planning team, all adults of any variety are required to take the host safe from harm training. Now, I'm sure that all of us have youth protection training within the Boy Scouts of America. That's required. We all have that. But this is different. This is a training that is specific to the Jamboree operation because it covers issues that are multicultural and just a different perspective than our youth protection training. So we all have the youth protection training, but we also all have to take the safe from harm training. It's a great piece of training, but it does take a lot of time to take it. It's online. You go online, you start it. There are different modules. I think there's 7 different sections to it, and it will take you a while to work through those 7 sections, but you must get that done, and you must be able to provide evidence when you check in at the registration area at the Ruby Welcome Center. You have to be able, and must be able to provide evidence that you've completed it, or else you're going to get to sit down and do it there. And it takes a while. So if you're there and you're anxious to get on site and get in your tent and get set up and get meeting people and get to work, that's going to put a crimp in your process if you haven't gotten that safe from harm training completed. So get that done. Don't wait until the last few weeks to get it done. Go ahead and get it done now so that you can have that completed before you go. So I think that's all the medical questions that we had there, Kathy.
Excellent. So I guess we can open up the floor. I know you might have seen a few of us are looking at our phones here, reading through the comments. We're hoping to go through and answer some of the comments that you guys have posted on the live stream. I guess we can just jump around. If you see a question that you know the answer to, go ahead, read it off. I'll go ahead and do one. Someone asked if they can visit their children on site if they're a parent. If you are coming as a visitor, you cannot go back to your kid's campsite. You're going to be restricted to just sort of a visitor area, which is the Summit Center. But if you're IST, you are welcome to go ahead and go to any of those base camps that you would like to go to. Todd, do you have a question or no?
Yeah, sure. I was able to collect a few questions about the app, and I appreciate everybody's enthusiasm for it. I'm really excited. I'm glad that it's shared. There was a question about what is the app? Again, it's called Adventure On. It is the event app of the Boy Scouts of America. It's a large-scale event app. And it is currently only available for beta testing, so you have to be within a small group of people to access it. But you're welcome to go ahead and download the app and get plugged in there today. We look forward to sharing that with everybody in mid-June, but currently it is not yet open. It will be available on Android. That was a really great question. It is on iOS and Android. Sorry, Zooms and Microsoft phones, you got to come to an iPhone or an Android. Only those two. And there's also a question about how many notifications we're going to send you. We can't guarantee how many, but we are not going to be obnoxious. The last thing we want to be is annoying. So we'll send you a valuable information update in the morning, maybe an evening reflection point for our participants. But IST, we really don't want to bother you. We want this to be a tool for you to use as you'd like. However, I didn't mention before explicitly, this will serve as our emergency communications platform as a contingent. So in the event that there is some major scenario that we need to contact you, the contingent management team, to the IST, as well as unit leaders and youth, we're asking for every person with a smartphone to install this application and get it configured before you get on site. You should have about 1 month before you arrive at the Jamboree to get everything configured. And we'll send some test messages, that way you know everything's working. But the last thing we want is for there to be an emergency scenario and you're not able to be up to date. Back to you, Kathy.
Cool.
Kathy, I can take a couple of them.
Okay, go ahead.
Someone asked about the measles thing, and what I'm going to do is ask Kathy, all of us got that notification. Can we post that on our IST Facebook page?
Absolutely.
That general notification about the measles? And that'll clarify for anyone that can't find it or somehow it got lost in their spam folder or something like that. So the simple part on the measles is there's nothing required. We've provided some guidance. You need to read it. You need to decide what makes sense to you. If you decide to get vaccinated, there's still time to get that done. It's a 2-part vaccination. If you were born 1957 or before, it's not required, and that alone will be evidence that you're good to go. One other question that was there about, is there a summit waiver form for the high adventure activities? Good news is, if you're registered for this Jamboree, you already signed your waiver form. That was part of your original registration process, consent and waiver. So you've already signed everything that you needed to sign. You would never have gotten through level 1 approval if you had not completed and done your consent and acknowledgement and waiver forms. And that includes whitewater rafting this time, by the way. So everything is part of that consent and waiver form.
Another question that I see here is, I've been getting multiple medical emails. The answer is there's a known glitch in the system where sometimes it'll keep emailing you even after you've filled it out. So don't worry about that. We know it happens. What other questions do we have here? Oh, there's a question about the tent mate system. If I request a tent mate, you will know ahead of time. We'll let you know if there's any issue with that tent mate request that you submit. Sometimes people submit wrong registration codes, or there are a certain number of positions that aren't allowed to use the tent mate system. So if you're in certain medical, food, transportation, things like that, you won't be allowed to use your system because you're going to be sort of in your own section of Echo Base Camp. Or if you're non-Echo staff, so if you're in Alpha, Beta, if you're in Alpha, Bravo, any of those ones, you won't be able to use this system. And if you don't fill out the tent mate request form, you're going to be randomly assigned. We're hoping to get it sort of by age and position, but that's definitely no way a guarantee. You're going to be assigned to other people just as soon as you arrive on site. So you probably will not know who you're staying with ahead of time if you do not fill out that form.
How many forms have we had submitted so far, Kathy?
Probably around 250. And if you think that all those forms have 2 to 4 people, I'd say we probably have maybe a quarter of our IST that have already submitted a form. Does anyone else see questions?
I saw a question from a fellow CMT member. So one of our small group of 100 or so contingent management team members asked a question about the spring order of neckerchiefs and shirts. And I will address that question for you guys in the CMT base camp so that we don't clutter up the IST conversation with that.
Another question, can we post tonight's slides? Absolutely. As soon as we finish this, we're going to post the recording so anyone who missed it can see the recording. We're also going to post the slides, and then you should be getting an email as well with these links, and that'll also have a link to YouTube, so you can send that to your friends who don't use Facebook to view the video afterwards.
All right, so let's all wave at our Jamboree chairman, Scott Sorrells, who's watching our Facebook Live tonight. Everybody wave.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Thank you for joining us.
Good tip, carry rain gear at all times. Are IST permitted to bring their own stoves, etc.? We highly recommend that you bring your own mess kit. So if you ever get invited to eat a meal with a unit, you can take advantage of that. There is no flames allowed inside the summit tent, so you would not be able to use your own personal stove inside your tent. Russell, do you know if they'd be allowed to use that in a dining hall? I don't think there'd be.
No, they shouldn't. There'll be plenty of refreshments available.
Absolutely. Right. And there's also going to be a chat and chew there, as we mentioned previously. So if you ever want a snack, not during a meal hour, if you want to go get some ice cream or a sweet treat or something like that, that's always going to be there as well. I think they have live music sometimes too.
And you can come by the Cafe USA.
Exactly, yes. Lots of countries are going to have their own food tents there. That's food traditional to their country, and USA is going to have a cafe as well.
And lots of coffee. Somebody asked about coffee. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of coffee.
Somebody's asked about staff show. I don't know whether we mentioned this on the last IST office hours or not, but the general arrival date for the World Jamboree is Monday, July 22nd. But the USA contingent is coming in on Sunday, 21st July. And there's several reasons for that. One, because it gives the registration system a chance to process a major block of registrants a day ahead and have somewhat of a shakedown, and also lessen their confusion and turmoil on the Monday the 22nd. But it also allows us to serve as a greeting, part of the greeting team for the rest of the world as they come into the United States to visit us at the Jamboree hosted it on our soil. So we'll be there on the 21st with our 142.5 units and 5,500 participants and unit leaders. to do that. So we have planned a pep rally for our participants to get them ready to be the right kind of welcoming host and greeters on Monday morning. So on Sunday night, there'll be an event for our USA contingent on site. And immediately following that, there will be a continuation of that event as an entertainment for the international service team. So somebody was asking about, would there be a, quote, staff show? So there will be an event that will first start off as a pep rally for our USA contingent, and then we'll segue into an event for the staff as a thank you and an entertainment for them on Sunday evening before the rest of the world shows up to join the fun on Monday morning.
Yeah, if you want to put in your calendars now, the IST staff show is going to be in Echo on the 22nd from 7 to 8:30 p.m.
Excellent.
Okay, so it seems like most of our questions are sort of calming down. I think we'll go ahead and sort of call this a night for the video part, but we'll still be monitoring the comments, and if there's more good questions that show up in the comments afterwards, we'll go ahead and respond to those. But we wanted to thank you guys all for joining us tonight. We hope you found this helpful. We'll probably be having our next session probably in July, right before the event, to close up any last-minute questions or comments or last-minute questions about logistics or travel or tenting or anything like that. So it's going to be a while, but hopefully you know how to reach us now. You can reach us on the Facebook group or at the US Contingent email if you ever have questions. We're more than happy to answer them. And yeah, so I guess that's all I have for tonight. I guess my tradition is, Russell, do you want to give us a Scoutmaster's Minute?
Okay. So thinking last time, I remember I shared about some of the specialness to me personally of a World Jamboree with a friend that I met at my first World Jamboree in 1995, a lady named Ursula, who's from Austria. And now the great thing is that her daughter, Teresa, is going to be a participant at this World Jamboree from Austria, and Ursula herself will be back as a visitor. So I'll get to see her again, and I've seen her only a couple of times over the years, but we've corresponded first by letters and then by email, and kept in touch over these now 20 plus years of that. But I was thinking about another Jamboree of mine, and that was in Thailand in 2003. And one of the questions that we answered earlier tonight was about religious service. And it made me think about that, Kathy, when that question was being answered, that there is always a duty to God. In fact, that's one of the basic tenets to be part of the World Organization of the Scouting Movement, or WASM. A National Scout Organization has to have as one of its basic principles a respect for and appreciation of the duty to God element in it. It may be expressed in different ways. It's not expressed through any particular faith or denomination, but duty to God is an important part. As I was able to participate in a general Protestant worship service in 2003 in Thailand. It was not on Sunday, the traditional day that Protestants worship. It was on another day of the week. That day happened to be designated as the worship day at that Jamboree in Thailand in 2003. But I remember at the close of that worship service, there were several hundred, as I recollect, maybe 400 or 500 folks that were there. And we were all asked to stand up, and where we stood, surrounded by people from all different countries, all different cultures, we were all asked to say the Lord's Prayer in our own language, out loud, together. And as I stood there with my head bowed, my eyes closed, and as I said the Lord's Prayer in English, I could hear that same prayer being spoken in at least 5 or 6, 7 distinguishable other languages all around me. And it was just a really, really special moment for me, as I realized that even though I couldn't understand all of those other languages saying those same words that I was, that God understood them, every single one. And that was a really special moment. And I think that all of us, just like every World Scout Jamboree that's been before, each and every one of us are going to have special moments like that. I asked another young man one time, well, was it what you expected? And he said, absolutely, because I expected to be surprised. And I was surprised every single day with something. So my wish for you is that you have a special moment or 2 or 3 or 10 or a dozen or more special moments, just like I've had through the years, and that you have those same unexpected surprises every day that are delightful and serendipitous, and it will make your World Jamboree experience as fantastic as it possibly can be. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Russell. And I guess good night, everyone.
Thank